Stepping up to the couch, it's Brian, who led the league last season in cracked screens. But with his new athletic case, it looks like that won't be the case. Touchdown, Brian!
I didn't want to make this video. I really didn't, but I would understand if you didn't believe me based off of my track record. I've made 2 controversial videos on Russell Westbrook, one more controversial than the other. The more controversial one being why Russ shouldn't have won the 2017 MVP, and the other one was why Russ was the most confusing player of all time. And the premise of that last one will be echoed a lot in this video, but with a different perspective. Basically, that video summarized would be, Russell Westbrook is supremely talented, but he makes so many questionable decisions on the basketball court that it makes him hard to gauge how good he really is. But now, after this Blazers series, I think that Russ is so supremely talented, but all the mistakes that he makes diminishes that talent. It makes him a player that you cannot win with, or at the very least, you can't win at the highest level with. And it makes all of the good of Russell Westbrook nullified. I have never seen a superstar player on the level of Russell Westbrook consistently make the terrible decisions that he makes. Russell Westbrook is the worst superstar that I have ever seen.
Rebound! Save! Absolutely incredibly with the acrobatic alley-oop!
Now, that statement's kind of weird because it's basically a backhanded insult, if that's a thing, because I'm basically saying he's the worst of the best. What first needs to be stated here is my definition of a superstar. To me, a superstar is a top 10 or so player in the league, depending on how talented the league is right now. There can be more than 10 superstars, I'd say that's the case right now. And I think Westbrook is that, but he is towards the bottom of the top 10, and consistently the most disappointing player of the top 10, because he has the talent level of a top 5 player that, because of all of his mistakes, comes towards the bottom of the top 10. The reason that I decided to make this video was the Portland Trail Blazers series, where Russell Westbrook has just been awful. Just from a pure statistical standpoint, he's averaged 21.3 points, 9.8 assists, and 8.3 rebounds, but he's shooting 36% from the field, 30% from 3, and he's averaging 4.5 turnovers. If you take out Game 3, which is the only good game he's had in the series, he's averaged 17 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 4.3 turnovers, and he's shooting 31% from the field and 18% from 3. Postscript, yeah, he got 29 in Game 5, which happened after the recording of this video, but he shot 39% and got torched by Lillard. That is just awful, but it's not only that he's playing terribly, it's that he is getting torched by a point guard commonly considered to be inferior to Westbrook. Damian Lillard in this series is averaging 29 points and 6 assists, shooting 44% from the field and 44% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. Another postscript, I'm sure it's a lot more than that after that 50-point game. For a lot of people, this dominance by Damian Lillard puts him over Russell Westbrook as a point guard. I don't agree, but it's certainly a bad look for Westbrook, who is already 3rd on my list of best point guards in the NBA. And yeah, after Game 5, yeah, Dame's better than Russ. Now, this underperformance is worse than normal. While he has shot below 40% for the last 3 postseasons, he's usually upped his averages to make up for that drop in efficiency, even though with him it's not that big of a drop. But in the last 3 years, the OKC Thunder have lost in the first round, unless the Blazers blow a 3-1 lead and make me look like an idiot. Assuming the Blazers don't blow it, that would mean that the OKC Thunder lost a series that they should have won for the past 2 years. The Blazers had the better record, but it was only a difference of 4 games, and the Thunder probably would have stayed higher seeded had Paul George not gotten injured. Most people had OKC winning this series, and certainly most people had OKC beating the Utah Jazz last year. A team led by a rookie should not be beating a superstar point guard and a star wing with Paul George in the playoffs. Even if the Thunder were disappointing that year, They had the talent to pass the Jazz easily. Now, what I will say is that all these problems are not on Russ entirely. Paul George has sucked as well, though at least he has the injury excuse. Who I will not blame, at least that much, however, is Billy Donovan. I do think that Billy Donovan is one of the worst coaches in the league. However, and this was the case with Scott Brooks as well, I think Russell Westbrook is pretty damn uncoachable. He takes reckless shots, goes a million miles a minute, has no discipline on defense, and I guarantee you any suggestion by Donovan and Scott Brooks in the past would just get scoffed at by Russell Westbrook. Now, to an extent, it's on the coach to double down and make sure that the player does what he says, but Russ is a 30-year-old man who's been in the league for 11 years. He shouldn't need to be yelled at to do the right things on a basketball court. And one more thing for this Blazers series. I feel like I'll get some shit for throwing out Game 3 for Westbrook's playoff stats, but the thing is, I'm not all that impressed. Westbrook didn't play any different in this game than the other games. The only difference was his shot was dropping in this game, unlike the previous games. I mean, congrats on having a hot night, but he didn't play better, he didn't play smarter, he still took threes at way higher of a volume than he should be, still taking contested mid-range pull-ups. He didn't change for the better, he played the same way, the difference was he had the hot hand. Sometimes a shot chucker gets hot, and it makes that player look way better than they actually are. And then people realize later on that that was just a moment and not what you can actually expect from that player, and then realize that they're actually not that good. Cough, cough, Terry Rozier, cough, cough. So that's the Portland series. Now I want to talk about general issues with Russell Westbrook and his game. And again, if you watched my Why Russell Westbrook is Confusing video, I'm going to be echoing some of the same points, but with a different perspective. Where instead of confusion, I will instead just be saying that because of all these issues with his game, he's significantly worse than his numbers and status would indicate. So the first thing that I want to talk about is something that people actually think Russell Westbrook is really elite at, when he really isn't, and that is finishing at the rim. Now, these stats only go up until 2016 because I got them from B-Ball Breakdown, and the stats he listed only went to 2016 and I couldn't find them anywhere else. But here is where Russ ranks against other guards around the rim who have taken 150 or more shots in the paint during the season. Westbrook is not even that good around the rim, and that is because of another big problem with his game that I've mentioned earlier. The fact that he goes a million miles a minute. He charges to the basket like the fucking Roadrunner, doesn't slow down at all, and misses a shot because he barreled to the lane. Now that often results in good layups or even fouls, but it often results in just a bad shot as well. Next, ironically, many people believe that Russell Westbrook is one of the worst shooters of all time, and he is, but he doesn't have to be. Here's the deal, Westbrook is actually a very solid three-point shooter off of catch and shoots. From 2014 to now, Westbrook shoots 34.4% from 3 on catch and shoot shots, and for the last 3 years, he shoots 38% from the corner, but he shoots so little catch and shoot and corner threes. Westbrook has the ability to be a slightly below average three-point shooter, which is not good, but you will take it with all the thing that Westbrook brings positively. But he insists on taking 4, 5, 6, 7 three-pointers a game. Most of them off of the dribble, pulling up in his defender's face. He takes three-point shots that only a small fraction of the league has any business taking. He has the shooting ability of, like, Jay Crowder, but he shoots like he has the shooting ability of Stephen Curry. And as we all know, the poor decision-making by Westbrook is vast, and the threes in particular, as well as dumb turnovers and forced shots in general, always seem to come in the clutch. Anytime I am watching the OKC Thunder in the clutch, I am watching and waiting for Russell Westbrook to fuck it up. The same point has been echoed by Dom2K and many others. Many people actually view Russell Westbrook as a clutch player, but let me ask you this. If a player consistently hits game winners, but also consistently blows the game for their team 2 to 3 times for every game winner, is that player really clutch? It's a no if you're asking me, but clutchness is subjective as fuck. But there are a few point guards in the league that I wouldn't want want more than Russell Westbrook in the clutch. Even role players I would take over Westbrook. Because even if there's a 30% chance that he will hit a basket to win the game, there is also a huge chance that he will make a stupid mistake and blow the game. Legend of Winning has made some great points about how low the bar has been put for Russell Westbrook, going from he can be a championship point guard to he can make it out of the first round, right? Right? I want to talk directly to the Russell Westbrook stans. We've kind of made enemies of each other, and that's unfortunate. And I know you guys are having a rough week, so I'm going to be nice. But I just wanted to ask a question. I haven't addressed the two-word phrase that has been sewed to Westbrook's hip for the last 3 seasons. You know that basketball term? You know that two-word term that starts with T and the next one starts with D? That one? Westbrook has become infamous for these dribble tubbles. But let me ask you, if Russell Westbrook was a legitimate point guard that legitimately averaged mid to high 20s in points per game, if he got those stats based on his own talent, a player at that level that can grab those stats naturally is a supremely talented player and one of the best players the game has ever seen. If that's the case, Westbrook shouldn't be underperforming in the playoffs, especially at this level, and he shouldn't need you as a stan to defend him. Players at the level that you claim Russell Westbrook to be at do not need excuses. But Russell Westbrook needs those excuses because he isn't at that level. Russell Westbrook is a superstar player, but he works damn hard to make it seem like the opposite, which is a shame because he's supremely talented, as previously stated. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.